Hey, I'm Jeremy Widerman from Monster Truck. Going to talk today a little bit about my Gibson SG here, which is a little bit of a weird one. It's a 1962 reissue from the custom shop. I found it in Munich. It was sitting on the wall and it was dusty because I imagine not many people want a yellow guitar, which is something I kind of gravitated to very early on in my career. At least with Monster Truck, where I was picking up these TV yellow SGs all over Canada, and eventually I found the mother of all TV yellow SGs in Munich, which is this custom shop here, which I've been using for about 4 months now. The thing that's special about this guitar, beside the fact that it's the TV yellow color, which I've been kind of gravitated towards early on, is that and being that it is a custom shop, I knew it would have a better tone, and I knew that it would, just overall be like a better sounding guitar. But the biggest thing about it that I didn't expect was the tuning stability, which is something that I think all guitar players can relate to, which is, if your guitar is going out of tune all the time, you're just going to throw kind of a hiccup into your show, or even your practice schedule where you're constantly trying to work on something and the guitar is going out of tune. This guitar stays in tune forever. I don't know how or why, if it's just the quality of the build from the custom shop, or it's just a special the wood or whatever, but it just stays in tune forever. And it's just on the chords where you can really notice things being out of tune, like an open D chord, it just stays right where you want it to the whole time. And it wasn't something I wasn't expecting out of a higher end guitar, which I guess I probably should have. The main thing I like about the SGs is light. I do a lot of moving around on stage, and this thing, I think it's only like 7.5, just under 8 pounds, whereas like a lot of the Les Pauls can get into like the 12 and 11 pound. The heavier ones can just be like a boat anchor around your neck. And also I like that it's kind of got this shifted this way. So people don't like that because it tends to dip. But once you get over that fact, it's a lot easier to get up. You can get right up on the top end of the guitar without really any trouble at all. And that's somewhere I spend not a lot of time, but when I want to go up that high, I don't want it to be like a struggle where I'm like fighting to get to the top of the guitar. So it's just the ease of playability and the general comfort level of it being super light. As far as modifications go on the guitar, my other two SGs, which are very similar to this one, but just standard, they're actually 61 reissues and not a 62 reissue, and they're not a custom shop. I changed almost everything out of it. I changed the pickups to Sheptone pickups. I changed the machine heads to Spurzl locking machine heads, and that was again to try and get that tuning stability in there that I was kind of missing from those guitars, and it helped. What else did I do? Little stuff like strap locks. I also actually put this fine tuner bridge in that Gibson makes into this position where you actually have, it's like what you would see on like a Floyd Rose for the fine tuners, which is like a really nice way, if you're sharp on a string, to be able to detune minutely into tune without having to dip below the note and then come back up. So if you're in the middle of a show and you've got like a sharp low E string, you can just tune it down just a little bit without having to upset the stability of the headstock, which is something I really liked. But as I mentioned with this guitar, I haven't had that issue. I haven't had this guitar going out of tune like that for me. So I haven't really done anything with this one. This is literally, everything about this is stock from the custom shop, including the bridge, the pickups, the pots. It's got the Bumblebee capacitor or whatever the hell. I remember that was something that was a big deal, but I think it's probably bullshit. But yeah, this is literally stock right from the custom shop. Is burst bugger pickups, green key tuners, just straight off the shelf. I've heard some people don't like SGs in the studio, which I think is crazy. I basically run my live rig in the studio, and on the last record on Sittin' Heavy, I didn't have this guitar yet, so I was using my main 61 reissue, which is very similar to this, except with all the modifications I listed. And I used it on 90% of the record, I think. I used just that guitar. It actually beat out my 72. I have a Cherry 72 Deluxe, SG Deluxe, that I used on Furiosity, and I didn't touch that guitar at all for that process. So it was really cool to be able to have a guitar that was such a go-to guitar that I could use for the whole recording process. As far as consistency is concerned, live in the studio, like I said, mentioning the fact that I use the same gear for both, it's very similar. there is a little bit of a, and this isn't just on my end on the guitar, there is a little bit of a gap between our live sound and our studio sound, which is something that I think bands are always striving to kind of close that gap. And we haven't really gotten as close to that as I would like so far, and it's something that we're going to be working on a lot more in the future as far as like trying to capture that live sound on record. We get a little closer with every album, but it's something that we're always striving to do better, and I think it's something that we're really going to push for on the next album.